We are once again, as we did fail to record this episode once this week already, Maude and Ned, the spin-off. So if you can grab the theme tune from whatever episode last it occurred and drop it in here. They have moved to Springfield Township and their wacky neighbour, the Lady John Ham, Dynamite Legs, turns up at the door, begging for clothes. He's inexplicably naked, and when he is turned down, he becomes very angry and demands that the Flanders family race him for pride. During such race, Boner turns up with 17 kids in tow, possibly smoking a big cigar that may or may not set off John Ham's legs, because of course he has dynamite legs. Would you like to be Maude, Ned, Boner, or Lady John Ham?
I will be Marge and Boner.
Okay, and action.
We're going to leave Springfield. We're going to another Springfield. It's the Maude and Ned spin-off sitcom starring Rod and Todd. Bing, bing, bing.
Knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Maude, I'm afraid I've lost my trousers, underpants and upper shirt, and I've also been locked out of my house by Mr. Lady John Ham, and please give me some clothes, maybe that funny butthole shirt that your child was wearing a few days ago.
My eyes have been soiled. Neddy, come here. That maniac's here from next door.
Oh diddly no. John, we didn't diddly want to see your third stick of dynamite. Pause. Crude joke. Moving on.
Good Lord, Ned.
But I'm afraid diddly-aid, John, that we can't give you any gosh darn clothes. I'm afraid God likes those that make their own way in this world.
Yes,
well,
we only have a limited amount.
Well, you've angered me and you've hurt my pride. I'm afraid the only way is I demand that you meet me mano el mano, one of you, and race me down our street for pride. And if I win, I'd regain not only my pride but also some funny and offensive clothing from your wardrobe.
That seems like a lot of hassle for a Wednesday.
I'll take that as a yes. Todd, do you have the shotgun ready? Yes, I do. Okay, on three, please fire it into the air. 1, 2, 3, fire! Run, running on my dynamite legs.
I'm tired because I'm running.
Run on my dinosaur legs.
He's winning.
Who the bloody hell is that Groot coming round the corner?
Oh, good Lord. No. Jesus, wet.
Oh
Marge.
my goodness, I can't run because I'm being surrounded and pulled down to the ground by multiple children. It looks like there's about 17 of them.
Maud, look, it's me. Maud. What?
Keep that goddamn cigar away from my dynamite legs. Ah!
Everybody down.
Maud! It's a Maud Good cast, a season 4, niece of Eliza Turnbull. The twins, Boner and Garrett, with all of the legitimate and illegitimate children. Foxy a dead disco chick, she's a Madam Shoe collector. She's glaring at Springfield through suspicious eyes, member of the Moral Caucus. Maggie Roswell, she's your greatest moment. It's the Maude season 4. Episode 9, la 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 la.
Yeah, we're teetering on the edge of 40 here.
Good Lord. Who would have thought it?
And we are not close to the biggest day of her life.
The biggest and last day of her life.
Yes.
The first day of her death. Hello, good morning, Flanders morning, and cider drink a clum. Veto even a teensy bit of the innards going into your belly, my mother's son. Brought to you by Jeff Apples, Sunderland, where 25% of the Earth's fishes and 99% of the world's birds hang out. Don't check those facts. Shall we tag team the sponsors?
I don't know where my list is, so yes.
Sponsor, International Clip Art Abs, for all your clip art ab needs, ladies, gents, and also now elf size.
I was going to say Jack Derrida, but that was the wrong name anyway. Yanis Zanecki and a tennis racket.
Margaret Lanterman and Phil Coulson, ACA the Log Lady of S.H.I.E.L.D., Hail Hydra.
The other woman from the Susan Boyle audition who mouths, who's Elaine Page.
Cops in action, the California Highway Patrol, and the KGB watching you through your bathroom window in a fancy shirt.
Sideshow Luke Perry.
Breaking kayfabe for a moment. Do you know about kayfabe?
No.
Secret wrestler talk. Breaking kayfabe for a moment, I want to on air say thank you for your sterling work in the Mordcast so far. And the last episode that just went up, MC 4.8, excelled yourself with editing visual and audio. So a round of applause for King
Thank you very much.
And now back to our normal service. So the last we heard of our good friend Jacques the Pen Derrida was him. First of all, we saw him break out from beyond death and run off or ride off on our hamster quadrupeds, and then we got a very low quality audio that looks like he's managed to find some of his friends, RT Rambo and Michelle Foucault, who has a filthy mouth.
Yeah, he was a sailor talk. They all sounded like they were running somewhere as well. Must have been the hamster.
I can't imagine that we're going to get a quote from him this week, are we?
I don't know. Maybe he'll... I still have that pager.
Psst. Psst. Psst.
Who's that?
Can you hear that?
It's me, boys. I'm up here on top of the light bulb.
Oh, you're back.
Well, I'm just calling by because I thought it's only fair that I give you a quote for this week, innit? Because me and my lads have been having a lot of aggro, and I've just thought I'll throw you a bone for giving you a bit of guff and hassle over the phone. That bloody Michelle. It's all over the place.
Yeah, he's a naughty one.
So, are you ready for the quote?
Yeah.
The bricoleur, says Levi Strauss, is someone who uses the means at hand, that is, the instruments he finds at his disposal about him, those which are already there, which had not been especially conceived with an eye to the operation for which they are to be used, and to which one tries by trial and error to adapt them, not hesitating to change them whenever it appears necessary, or to try several of them at once, even if their form and their origin are heterogeneous, and so forth. There is therefore a critique of language in the form of bricolage, and it has even been said that bricolage is a critical language itself. If one calls bricolage the necessity of borrowing one's concept from the text of a heritage which is more or less coherent or ruined, it must be said, as you can already guess by now, that every discourse is bricoleur.
Nice. It was nice to see the dance you did as well, whilst doing that quote. Everything is bricoleur. It can't be argued.
I mean, I agree, of course. My quote backs me up on that, but how would that connect to our good friend Maudlin? You seem to be a bit obsessed with that lady.
Yes, she is. She's the whole gambit.
I think the key phrase is that we use whatever means are at hand, the instruments at our disposal. Would you say that either within the text, Maud uses everything at her disposal to make life come alive, or even you, as the provocateur, the observer, do you do that with Maud?
She does not, but we definitely do. I've done it today in my notes. Looked at the things she's interacting with to see if it gives us any more information.
Maud, I imagine, is a dab hand with grabbing any item and turning it to her advantage. A chicken wishbone. A chicken bloody wishbone.
Yeah, he used that to her advantage, in that she saw it and thought this would be fun for Ned and Homer to do, and then she drove that story forwards with that chicken wishbone.
And that's, if only as a MacGuffin. If only as a MacGuffin. Maude employs bricoleur. Well, as you can see, I'm quite busy. I'm trying to get the gang back together. So me and Quadrupence were gonna head off now, through the tubes, pick up Michael and our Artie, and then see if we can get Guy the Guy Debord.
Oh, yeah.
Even Michael Bublé.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye, Jacques. See you next time.
Catch dead. Right in a hamster. Zipping between the blades of grass. Tiny dead. Deconstructing everything. Coming to you to tell you what's what.
Jack seems pretty happy to be back from beyond the grave, and he's out there getting the whole gang back together. Now, what's strange for me is all of those other people he talked about are also dead. So I wonder whether Jacques found a way to bring others back from the dead. I did hear him asking his mother from beyond the grave, what is the secret of the locked room?
I see. I'm sure we'll find out. He seems to be able to bring people back, but only tiny.
It does seem to be, well, he's brought himself back tiny. We don't know how big Michael and Archie are. We've only heard their voices. So
That's true.
Let's see. Give me a number between 1 and 3 blooming 120 something.
39.
39. What do we learn about Maude in the Flanders Book of Faith?
To my recollection, not a lot. Nothing that we didn't already know. I remember buying that book. There'll be something in here. And I think out of like 40 pages, she's on like 2 or 3. Other than a lot of Ned's relatives seem to look like her, I don't think we actually learn anything that we didn't already know about her.
So according to the fandom, it does say that there is a Maude Flanders fact file, but again, maybe it doesn't tell us anything else.
It tells you all the stuff that we kind of already know at this point, like the ficus plants and the judging god.
So it's really just a reprint of the Simpsons wiki.
Yeah, but shorter, much shorter.
That's somewhat disappointing. But moving on, let's not let that kind of stuff get us down. Because last week, just as we finished up, John the Statman came in, didn't he? He came bursting in and he heard what he thought over your cell phone was some very suspicious behaviour going on. He's here now. John, come in. What do you want to say? Boys, I'm sick and blooming tired of this stuff. Boys, you can bloody hear Ergon. He's up there.
Hi, John. Been a while. He's up where?
He's up there wherever them dogs are. Can you not hear him? He's shouting, John, John, John. And something about ice cream or licking or like or something.
The space dogs.
I don't know where your bloody dogs are. But all I know is Ergon's up there and we've got to save him. We've got to help him.
I don't believe you, John.
Oh, you're no good. You're no bloody help. I'm going to get to space and find those effing dogs myself. I'm out of here.
Does anybody want a drink?
Hey. Did you just say you need to go to space?
Yeah, I've got to go to space and get those blooming dogs what I've kidnapped or dog-napped, but that would be if they kidnapped him and he was a dog, but they're dogs and he's a human, so yeah, he's kidnapped by dogs. And I've got to go space and get him bloody back, 'cause I'm sick of this, and these two gits, they'll not even do nothing about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, I'll do something about it. I'll take you up to space in my shredded wheat UFO, which is almost finished.
Oh, tell me more about that.
A couple of years ago, the Twiher, who are an extraterrestrial species who created humanity using advanced technology, they came and spoke to me in my garden via the medium of plates and cups, and sometimes cutlery.
Does anybody want a drink?
Now, sometimes they've been mistaken for gods, but the Twyher have created 36 little Twihers, which are human hybrid prophets that are preparing humans for news about their ultimate origins. Some of the Twyher prophets have been Paul McCartney, Steve Jobs, Galileo, Mike Jackson, Steve Jobs 2, Elon Musk, Elton Musk, Don Henley, Eric Bachman, and maybe Pink Floyd.
What about me?
No, you're not one of them, Michael. You get back in the bloody garden and finish your crisp.
Oh, bloody hell.
And I, Jeff, am the 36th and final prophet. And since space exploration from the age of Barca set animals against humans and made them jealous, there has been an existential threat for human versus animal showdown. And once peace is achieved, the Twyher will return to Earth, specifically Worsley Mesnes, to share their 6G technology and usher in an age of utopia. Lads, I've built myself a polystyrene UFO, and we're going to go into space and find the Twyher. And I can take you, John, to your space station, and we can get back your kidnapped friend.
Oh, that's brilliant! I'm going to join your cult, Jeff. What do I have to do for join your cult?
Oh, come with me, John. I'll explain.
Does anybody want a drink?
They've gone? I don't know. It looks like Jeff has started a space cult, and his first recruit is Statman John.
It really does sound that way. Relaxing for me, though.
Yeah, I guess so. How about we get into some content?
Yes. Do you want a audio commentary first? It's been
Yeah,
a
I'd
while.
love one. Do you have one?
Yes. Yes, I do. Would you like to pick a number between, there's still like 1 and 8.
I would like number 1.
From the golf game episode, what a shame she had to die. That's it.
It is a shame she had to die. This is something we have talked about before, and sure we'll talk about again, but it is a crying shame she had to die. She didn't have to die though, did she?
She didn't have to die. They imply that they say it in a very matter-of-fact, like villain way. Like it was their choice to kill her, but they're saying it as if they didn't have a choice. And they could have just given her some more money.
They could indeed. Could have given her just a couple more grand. They wouldn't have had to kill her. We would have had some wonderful stories. And shame on you. Shame on you, Matthew Groening, Al Jean, and David X. Cohen. Shame on you.
Yes.
Like
Good
to
work,
get him on
Max Stone Graham.
Good work, Max Stone Graham, for just hanging out there in the bushes and bringing him back. Bringing her back.
Yeah.
I imagine he's had a big hand, IMG, in her increased appearances recently.
He took her out of this world, so he should put her back.
Was it Max Stone Graham who wrote the episode?
Yes.
Do you think he was forced to knife point to write it?
Possibly. He may have directed it, not written it. I can't remember.
Or we want to keep a little bit of ambiguity in there. We don't want to make it too clear. It's still 4 Earth seasons away. So,
Exactly.
shall we leap straight in? As we're talking about Maude, shall we leap straight into the Maude content?
Yes, whilst we're on the subject. Let's do it.
How about some context for these good people?
The eclipse, that's the wrong word, the conclusion of Hurricane Neddy after Maude went to the township and came back, and Ned went to the crazy house and came back. And then we're on Maude's biggest non-Flanders appearance, possibly ever. And that is all I want to say.
Yeah, it's a good one. In this first half, she's in the background, but then she really comes on strong in the second episode. And I've been waiting for these Investorettes to turn up, and today's the day. It's a good day. Clip 1. Hurricane Neddy. Ned emerges from the hospital. Classic BOTH shot of Maude. Arms outstretched. Homer and the doctor come out flanking Ned. There's signs of smiling in the crowd. Apu, Flandy is dandy. They have a sign that says Flandy is dandy. Rod and Todd are gleeful. In an unnamed diamond shirt kid is also very gleeful. Face forward Maude is Muppet-esque. Unknown sight holding next to Helen. Is it the Reverend because the sign says Free John Swartzwelder. And
Nice.
Salmon Pink Beard Man, he's there again.
Is he? Excellent. I'm hoping he shows up everywhere now. You know, sort of like that Bad Wolf thing in Doctor Who, where it was just all in the background the whole time. I'm hoping this guy is Maude Bad Wolf.
I hope so. But when I type in Salmon Pink Beard Man into the internet, I only get Jasper Beardsley. And he is not the beardy man we are looking for.
No, that's a paddling.
So what do you make of this clip then? Maude's up there, she's supporting Neddy as he emerged from the hospital, and lots of support from the town, signs and all that stuff.
I don't think you finished the clip.
I did not. Ned thanks everybody in a shaky voice. He says, I'm all better now. No more storing up the anger till I explode. It's unconvincing. Another great back of the head shot. If any of you does something I don't like, you're going to hear about it. More waving and cheering. What's Maude thinking about this is what I'm thinking here, because she knows Ned better than that. And the doctor says, yes, that's very healthy, Ned. And Ned says, and if you really tick me off, I'm going to run you down with my car. Malevolent eyes. A first audible gasp sounds like it's from Maude. We cut to the crowd looking dismayed, Maude hand to mouth. Clapping, nice. It says clapping fade, but I don't know what that means.
Clapping fade. It sounds correct for whatever it means. It seems like all is forgiven now from everybody in town after Ned's complete, going off on everybody. Now everybody seems to be back on Team Ned, which is nice. Ned's usually quite picked upon by others, or he's easy for everybody to get angry at. So it's nice that they all nobody holds a grudge, even Maude. But I think this is surely for show, and she's going to go mad when they're on their own.
You reckon? You reckon she's gonna, because sure, he's okay, he's feeling better, but he's still got to be on shaky ground. She can't just rage at him the first moment they get together. She's got to realise that might not be for the best.
Very true, but he did, regardless of his emotional status, he did just abandon them without any plan for his wife and kids or any information, really. He just drove away from them, and this was the next time that they saw him. Unless they, of course, visited, but we never saw them visiting him. And we never saw them at the Flanders home. And as we learned from her diary, she's not even in the state anymore. But no, here now she's back. And I've noted that she looks dainty and humble, but I do think it's all for show. And Todd's face, he seems pretty happy when Ned says the thing about running you down with his car. Todd's the only one still smiling.
Why do you think that is? Is he not paying attention? Does it not make sense to him? Does he not understand? Or does he fully agree that that's what you should do? Should people tick you off?
Maybe he thought it was a joke, but Todd is very impressionable. So maybe he just thought, this is how you're supposed to, this is what you do if somebody annoys you. So maybe he was just smiling in that Todd way, where his natural face is pleasant, rather than Maude's where it's icy.
Do you think Maude saw Todd smiling, and if so, what would she have made of that?
I don't think she spotted him, but I think she would know with Todd that it was, probably going to lead somewhere bad. So she'd probably not let him get a driver's license when the time came. Well, that's what her plan is anyway, but she won't be. She won't be around. So it won't matter anyway. Either way, she's dead.
She's got a lot on her hands there, though. So she's got two of her boys teetering on the very brink of insanity. I didn't see any evidence of any long-term counselling for the family going on after this traumatic incident. Maybe they just agreed to bury it deep down inside and never mention it again.
Seems that way, because after this, Ned is more flippant, but he's never like this again, I don't think. Jesus Christ. The biggest bee in the world.
You got a big bee in your house?
It's gone now. It was, I think Derrida was on the back of it.
No way. He's not that small, is he?
No, it must have been one of the other ones. Maybe it was Clinton.
It could have been. Oh, hold on. Can you hear it? It's just coming by again. Under the pavement stones lies the beach. That was interesting.
Strange
days indeed. Most peculiar, Mama. Do you have anything more to add to Hurricane Neddy? It was a traumatic experience for everybody that seems to have quickly been brushed under the carpet.
Yeah, no, it seemed like one of those substantial life moments, but everything naturally just returns to normal after this. They all sort of reset from those themes, from the looks of things, but we know that Maude carries this trauma with her, and we know that she doesn't forget.
She definitely doesn't forget.
So she's going to be keeping a close eye on everything, I would say, except for in this next episode when she is completely absent of Ned, Rod, and Todd.
Well, she's still got to live her own life, right? And, you know, using that as a splendid jump-off point into clip 2, because this is where we see Maude really step out from the Flanders shadow and become a very different kind of Maude.
This is probably I think I've said this before, but this is probably the closest to the real Maude we're ever going to see, because is this the real Maude, or is she showing off? We'll have to decipher.
This is a glimpse into where Maude could have gone had she not met Ned, had she not married, had she gone the Nagel route, and she's got it in her to be cutthroat. I'm not sure if she got the skills to pay the bills, but she's definitely able to really know where the weak link is in this chain and come down hard like a hammer of Maude.
That's true. Given that this is such a long clip as well, I've cut it up into 3 segments of notes. So if you go up to where Agnes says children are so fat today, and then I will give you my first third of notes.
Interesting. That's exactly where I made my cut as well.
Is it really?
Yeah. Although I've cut mine into 3 as well. So that's what we're talking about right here, listeners. You can see that we've reached phase 4 hive mind in our notation. Synergy. So that advice that RuPaul's Drag Race season 6 contestant Vivacious gave us way back in episode 2 to keep copious notes. Man, did that lady know what he was talking about?
It really paid off. Thanks, Viv.
Thanks, Viv. And you know, the door is open if you ever want to come on and do a, what's it called? Where people who don't know anything about Maude.
Novice Maude Opinions.
Novice Maude Opinions. Maybe Vivacious can be our next one.
Maybe. Probably not.
Clip 2. The Twisted World of Marge Simpson. Oh yeah. Sign says, meeting Springfield Investorettes, 9 a.m. Now, is the joke that an investorette is a female investor and that's funny because women don't invest? Is that the joke in the 90s Simpsons world? Anyway, are they at Moe's? They're somewhere. Edna, Maude, Marge, Agnes, Luann at a coffee table with some cups, maybe with some coffee in there. Is a very badly drawn Edna. There's a sign on an easel, we can't see it yet, and Maude is getting well into her coffee. Agnes opens by saying, the pancakes here stink. Thank you, Agnes, says Helen. She is clearly the leader. Let's begin. I'm happy to report that our shares in Dynaflux Unimatics are up 7 3/4. We see that Helen has a chart showing nice steady growth. No numbers on the axis, so we don't quite know how much money they've made. This means our investment club portfolio has nearly doubled in value. Excited voice, Roswell. The graph line becomes a heart. There is excited group chat. Maude turns to Marge and Edna, and they are chatting with hopeful doe eyes. It's wonderful. Helen says, I suggest we pump our profits into some new high-risk ventures. Edna suggests Oklasoft, Oklahoma's fastest growing software company. Maude dismisses Edna's idea without even responding and throws her own in. She suggests cushions as if it's absolutely obvious. She moves hand to chest and says, everybody likes to sit on cushions. Go nice or go home. Did I write that, or is that actually in the episode?
Nice or go home.
Yeah.
That's not in there.
I made that up, but that would be a good catchphrase for Maude. Agnes, however, ignoring both ideas, says, children are so fat today. Luann looks on smiling, given that her children are not fat. Ain't there some way we can make money off that? Maude looks on.
Half of the women in this scene are Roswell.
Absolutely.
Which is mad. This for a show reel or whatever you would be putting together. I imagine this and Sherry Bobbins are the 2 episodes that Roswell would probably choose to show, because 3 whole characters for her the whole way through, kind of. But this is Helen's episode. Out of the 3 that she's doing, this is definitely Helen's story. Agnes and Edna. There's a reason Maude and Luann get shafted here, and it's because Agnes and Edna are the funniest two out of these characters, and then Helen's leading the charge. So any other like scraps of lines now are going to be thrown to Maude and Luann, and I think Maude fares a little bit better than Luann in this situation. I also noted that she's enjoying a coffee, which isn't something we've seen her do before, I don't think. I'd imagine it was a decaf, even at 9 in the morning. I don't think Maude plays with caffeine. She looks pretty happy with it, though. That is the face of someone drinking coffee who feels like they need coffee.
Maybe doesn't have it often, or maybe has it a little too much. She's definitely on the extremes there. That's not somebody who enjoys the odd coffee. So
No. Did you notice throughout Helen's speech, Maude never looks away from Agnes? Everybody else's eyes go to Helen, but Maude just stays locked on Agnes, whilst Helen talks about Dynaflux and stuff, which again sounds like a good fake, like Goodger College, Allied Biscuit. Dynaflux seems like it sounds real. That's why it's funny.
yes, I liked Unimatics. Dynaflux Unimatics is a good name.
I wonder what it is.
I wonder what they do out there.
I reckon something plumbing based.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Unimatics is a real thing, so who knows? Who knows what's out there?
Edna is directly looking at Maude in the eye and talking to her here. Just want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, as we later claim that, it's later claimed that they don't really know each other.
Yeah.
Ned's never really come across her before.
And Maude throws out a polite before giving her idea out, which is very Maude, very on brand for Maude. And that's sort of keeping with, they don't dismiss that she's a Flanders. It's not like they've rewrote her character. So she's still doing slightly polite, socially awkward little gestures that we expect from Maude. And cushions is by far the best option here, and it's not high risk at all. I like that Maude thinks that it is a high risk venture.
And Marge thinks it's high risk. And Maude thinks it's high risk. The others, and no one steps up to say that's not high risk. They just say, we'll come to what they say later, but they turn quickly on anyone that doesn't want to invest in stock options that are on the risky end of the market. What do you think? Because she didn't even acknowledge Edna's idea. It was just she threw out her others. Do you think that's because they're very comfortable together and they've done this a lot, or do you think it's just straight up rude?
It's more comfort. It's more they're in the rhythm of the Investorettes here, I imagine. It just seems more like it's not necessarily a coffee morning, it's a meeting. So I think that everybody would just naturally throw an idea out. Agnes continues the charge with it. Luann and Marge don't get a chance to suggest anything. I imagine if there was enough time with this scene in terms of, not having to cut it down to 22 minutes for the episode, I imagine Luann probably would have got an idea as well. But no, I don't think it was particularly rude to Edna, because Edna doesn't tolerate rudeness. So I don't think if it was rude, I think Edna would have said something.
Where's Maude got this cushion idea from? She's never expressed particular interest in home furnishings before.
I think maybe it's just again, they're all just riffing. I think it's just come to her in the moment that she's just thought, what about cushions? Because she's probably thinking about the things that she likes, and she can't say ice cream because these women will judge her. She can't say wind chimes because she's already got that covered with Ned and the online business that we sort of assume that she does.
Well, she does that.
So
that's true. That's canon.
I think in the real world, the joke is that she doesn't really have a lot of personality. One of the most exciting things she can think of doing is sitting on a cushion. But I just see it as a sensible, maybe Maude might be playing these people again. Like, she's going to throw out cushions as a high-risk idea because she knows it's not a high-risk idea. And she doesn't want to say anything high-risk, but she knows what the consequences will be if she just says, I don't want to do that.
Oh, yes.
So he's more savvy than Marge.
I think so. She knows the rules of this game. But there is an alternative episode where they agree that Maude's cushion idea is the best, and the rest of the episode is them investing in cushions. Were this a 3-hour episode, I would like you to spell out that plot of that episode and see where it goes. But alas,
We will.
Alas, that was interesting. Alas, I think we must move on to the second part of this clip. Helen sits hands clasped, and she says, "There is a franchise fair this weekend, and there is gushing glee all round. Why don't we buy a business?" Maude is happy on this. Isn't this the sort of wide-eyed thrill that she's going for? Now, is it the cash or the thrill that Maude is in this for? She makes eye contact with Edna, but then Marge, the buzzkill, steps up. "I'm not wild about these high-risk ventures. They sound a little risky." Surely that's a Maude line I wrote, but no, because this is a Marge episode, and so she had to say that line. A classic broccoli BOTH shot, as we see my notes become indecipherable here. An angry Maude is the first to speak. Marge's timidity is not welcomed in the group, and Maude, visibly angry, turns to her and says, "Oh, Marge, you're such a wet blanket." She stirs and she glurs as Edna steps up. "If we'd listened to you, we wouldn't have sponsored that Mexican wrestler." And she holds up a poster of El Bombastico. And I'm really interested to hear of Maude's involvement in the El Bombastico tale. Agnes bangs the table, yet she still gets to share in all the profits. Maude turns and then glares disapprovingly to Edna. Is it fair?" says one of Roswell's 4 voices.
I'm going to place it as Helen. Maude obviously has no issues with gambling, as she said last week about Ned with the insurance and stuff. That's obviously a Ned issue. Also, do you think Ned knows about this club? Because he doesn't seem like he would be. If he's too scared for house insurance, his wife sponsoring a Mexican wrestler probably isn't going to fly. But it could just be her money. They could have separate money.
I don't know. Separate bank accounts. Come on, seriously? The Flanders?
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely, does it? So that's probably a no-go. But I imagine Ned probably passes it off as a silly club that his wife's in, whereas she's fine with him thinking that because she could make a lot of money here and be the saviour that they need. Her and Edna could not be friendlier.
They could not be friendlier. They got along real well. And I don't know what Neddy would say, what that conversation would be like, where she said, "Oh, Neddy, don't be such a wet blanket. I'm going to invest in lots of things." And then maybe he doesn't know about the Mexican wrestler, but I would like to think there was at least one girls' night out to a wrestling match. And we saw Maude losing it, handbags thrown around, shouting, "Get him! Get him, Bombastico! Rip his nads off!"
I think so, yeah. I think there's a bloodlust in the Flanders plan, and that would be something that Maude would enjoy to see. The way she says Marge is very Dakotan.
You're much better at that than me. How does she say it?
It's like Marge.
Marge. Oh, Marge. Oh, Marge. Marge. Oh, Marge. Oh, Marge. Marge. Oh, Marge. Oh, Marge. Oh, Marge.
Subtle enough, but you can definitely place her as Dakotan.
Oh, Marge.
Yeah, that kind of vibe. I think Marge, this is where we get interesting psychologically, because you're right, that is a very Maude line. But Marge is the Ned in this scene. So is Maude now venting, like using Marge as a channel to vent anger at Ned. Maybe about the hurricane insurance.
Interesting. She's projecting out. Maybe this is quite close, right? Maybe she's just, this is a way for her to, it's the first person that's ticked her off since the whole house thing went down. Although, to be honest, it's not really that she turned on Marge, because it seems like Marge was the one who worked hard to at least try and help them.
Yeah, she's openly rude to her here, and I don't think she'd be this openly rude in front of Ned, Rob, and Todd.
I don't think so. She doesn't want to, but she's happy with it, with the group. She's gone with the mob mentality there, really, again in a smaller sense, and much nastier. They're not nice. They're not nice to Marge.
No, this is a bad light for all of these women.
But that's business for you. So the last part of this clip, Marge says, "I guess I'm just not that comfortable with the idea of, quote, investing." Luann puts her face in her hands. "You can't keep up with the go-go 90s, Helen laughs meanly. "Well, Marge, you're about as popular as Rugburn." I thought that was a weird thing to say. Maude is glaring more angry than ever. She's beginning to blood boil. Helen continues, all in favour of expelling Marge from the Investorettes. Immediately all raise their hands very high. I'm seeing a theme of Maude raising her hand recently, whether it's through celebrations or to agree with something within a mob. But the arm raise is becoming a signature move. Helen looks away. No eye contact. You'll get your pancakes in the mail. Now, we don't see whether she goes out via the left or the right. I speculated she pushes past Maude and Edna because there's only two of them, and maybe she doesn't want to push back Agnes, who's right next to her. So maybe she has to push and squeeze past Maude uncomfortably on the way out.
I agree that she would pick the Maude and Edna side because she's probably more scared of Agnes. Maude and Luann. Yeah, it's especially shocking to see them having this gang mentality against Marge so much. They're the two that it makes the least sense because Edna doesn't really care about Marge. She doesn't dislike her usually, but they're not. Edna's not part of this group of wives, really. I think it's surprising that Edna, in a later episode, probably would have been Bernice or Lindsay Nagle. Quite isolated from the women usually. She really dislikes Marge from that stare she's given her. Like, Maude is really viscerally, like, her arms as well are like tense, like she's going to explode, which is fun. But I would also be annoyed with Marge in this situation because it's an Investorette meeting. You wouldn't go skiing and then say, I'm not keen on the idea of skiing, it seems a bit risky. What are you here for then? Get out.
There is that. It seems like that's not a very funny joke and a reason why, but I guess that's just unfortunately the Simpsons 22 minutes, they got to push that along, and sometimes they need to cut those corners to be like, yeah, we got to get Marge out of that Investorettes group in like 30 seconds. And so
yeah,
it is funny how quickly they turn on her and how strongly they turn on her.
It reminded me of when Homer gets kicked out of Moe's. He goes and he does that gag. There's like 3 pranks that they play and they're all worse than Homer's. And then Homer like unscrews the salt lid and it knocks all over the table and they all get so mad at him that they kick him out. And that reminded me of this is like a all-female reboot of that scene. The writers needed them to turn against Marge and it's just they do it on the most simple. I would be annoyed, but kicking her out is a step too far.
Yeah. I mean, and it worked. Maude left, ka-ching. Marge left, and the ladies went on to the investment fur. Are we good to move on to clip 3?
The last thing I'll say is there's not a lot of camaraderie, that word, with the women of Springfield. There's not a lot of like unbreakable bonds. They can all turn against each other at the drop of a hat, which I think is just... Homer's got plenty of friends, Marge has none.
That is the way, isn't it? It's unfortunately the ladies of Springfield, and that kind of shows not wanting to ding on those 90s writers too much, but really they never kind of got to grips with the Simpsons really being a Simpsons family. It was like, it's Homer and Bart, right? And then the ladies are not really B. They're not really B-listers, but they're also not really triple A-listers either.
If you get a Marge episode and there's other ladies involved, usually Maude and Helen, they're the antagonists. There's never really a story about the women being friends or like supporting each other. The Marge and Sarah one was pretty good. That was a pretty good example of that recently. That nobody was against anybody, but usually, they pit the women against each other.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cheap trick, isn't it? And it's kind of like we're not going to really develop Marge's character too much in those friendship bonds. We're just going to take the cheap option and have her fight against a different person each time and be excluded socially for whether she's a police officer or whether she doesn't decide to invest with him. It's just okay, now she's outside, and how will she fare with that?
They're all Helen in this occasion.
We are all Helen. There is only one Helen, and she is Helen. Clip 3. Marge sees them at I'm guessing the investment fur. Maude has her eyes half closed in a Clint Eastwood stare. Helen, Edna, Agnes, and Maude are there. I didn't see Luann. This is Marge. Hello, Helen. She begins and gets a frosty response. Edna, frosty response. Marge. And then she's struggling with Agnes's name. Agnes rolls her eyes and says, "Oh, my name is Agnes, and you know it's Agnes. It means Lamb of God." And she points angrily. "I'm sorry," says Marge. power established. And then the ladies just turn. Maude looks on arms by side, eyes rolled back, stirring. Where is she? Where is her mind? They turn and walk away one by one. No hi for Maude, though I am guessing that had Agnes not gone ballistic, she would have finished up the hellos with Maude.
I disagree, because she went the other way down the line. Agnes is at one side, Maude's at the other. So she should have started with Maude, but
True.
she just completely skips Maude. And there's no reason for these women to still be angry with Marge. There's nothing. There's no reason at all that they're this bitter and angry towards her. She left the group. That was it. It's done. Maude also doesn't greet Marge. So I think there was just a bit of spite on both sides with that. I think that's all that was. Out of those four women, Marge and Maude are the most comfortable, I would say, together. So they kind of get away with being more rude to each other a little bit, and it's sort of passing over and not being that weird. They live next door to each other, so I imagine there's plenty of times where they could greet each other and they don't. You know, Marge pulls up the car and Maude's doing some gardening, and maybe they give a nod. Maybe Marge looks the other way and pretends she's not seen Maude until she's in the house. Those kind of things that we'll never see because they shot her off the back of a stadium, crushed her skull.
Yeah, maybe there's a lot of those stories where, you know, maybe somebody they rebuilt the fence, or maybe the branches of a tree were overhanging just by a few centimeters, and that was enough to start a feud between them. But we just never got to see that episode. We never got to see that go down. But yeah, maybe their closeness is what makes the rage last longer and harder. I do think she said Helen first just because Helen is the leader, but she should have gone to Maude next. I agree.
Probably something to do with timing, and that's probably why Luann's not there.
Could be. Maybe Luann's parking the car. Who knows?
This scene then cuts directly to Disco Stew with his fish in his shoes, which is fun.
Nice. Yes. Maybe Stewcast 2. It's on the horizon.
Definitely. It was a close contender for Stewcast 1. And Agnes does not mean Lamb of God.
I did look this up, and it's not totally far off. What did you get the meaning as?
I just remember, I think the commentary, so I just remember them saying that it doesn't mean Lamb of God.
It means pure or holy. So
yeah.
It is a good Christian name, but I don't know if it actually means Lamb of God.
Agnes will certainly get a time in the sun as well at some point, because she is one of the funniest. She's probably the funniest female character outside of the family. She takes the Patty and Selma thing to another level. And yeah, she is great.
Apparently the name Aneska, the Hungarian name, does mean Lamb of God. So does this suggest that Agnes is Hungarian? And her name Agnes is short for Aneska?
Possibly. We'll find out in due time.
The Agnes cast, yes. I mean, my funniest Agnes one is where she's charging Skinner back room and board and for all of the food he ate as a child.
There's the one, she dates a comic book guy at one point in an episode, and he says something rude to her, and she says something like, you ill-mannered fat sack of crap.
She's got that kind of voice. She's Howard's mom. She's Lunch Lady Dora. She's the old battle axe.
Yeah, Tress MacNeille doing her best work. And
nice.
Also the time where Skinner says, "I'm not principal of the line, mother," and she says, "And you never will be."
All right, shall we move her on there? That's all the clips for today.
I'd just like to say that Maude, again, fared better here than Luann, which was nice to see. That they're sort of dishing it out fairly over season 8. Luann's already had her moment in the sun, so Luann takes a back seat for this one, whilst Helen and Maude. Because Helen in the Luann episode didn't speak, so it's a nice, they're balancing out the Roswells.
That's good. Roswell, this time definitely a wise choice to be asking for more cash, or even to be allowed to just record from her home, which is now standard, industry standard. So she was blazing a trail and she paid for it. But we love you, Maggie.
We'll see you on here soon.
So, shall we move into Maudstagram? I've just sent you the pictures that are currently at the top of the #Maud Flanders Instagram. First up, it is a little painting done by Stress-Induced Heart Attack. I don't know if they actually painted this, but it's a painting It's it's a two-parter. It's got Neddy in his love heart costume looking up at another painting where Maude is out of the window with her rose.
Very sweet. It looks like it's on some kind of material as well that isn't paper or canvas. It looks maybe vinyl.
No, I think it's canvas. You can see, you can flip. It's a 3-fer, and you can see it's a hand painted. And good work, stress-induced heart attack. Second one, we've seen this one before. Cartoonize the world up in Maude outside the church in Italy. So moving right along. Third one, what do we see here?
This one is the one that stings particularly, because she should just be in that picture, shouldn't she? Instead of that crummy little thing that you get with Rod and Todd, that little photo frame, which was a go-to when they ran out of ideas for toys. Like you would get, like with Agnes, for example, you got a photo frame picture of Skinner.
So what that was just the figures of Ned and the Rod and Todd, but as we know, to our pain, there's never been a Maude figure. No Maude Funko Pop. No Maude figure. The only ones we have are crudely rendered homemade versions, which have a charm, but aren't quite the same.
No.
Next up is a picture. That's right, I was at Bible camp. I was learning how to be more judgmental. Maude's catchphrase.
Standard. That's the go-to. That's the go-to line for Maude.
This one, simply a spoiler alert clip of the seconds before she was hit by the t-shirt cannon. No more context needed, none given, and Kludzbth has mentioned moments before ...
It's chilling to see that smile on her face.
Absolutely chilling. Next up is something written in Spanish, and it says no era un hombre, era un animal. So I'm not a Spanish, or is this Portuguese even? I am not neither of those speakers, and that's referring to when Ned says he's an animal because he had what did he do?
Is he saying I'm more animal than man? I was more animal than man.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't know what the top thing says. I imagine it's just some kind of joke about being hungover.
Maybe some of our Latin American. This was from Argentina, so maybe some of our South American fans can write in and tell us what that means.
Compañeros to me says drinking or celebrations.
Make of this what you will. I think this seems to be in Polish.
I do like this. I like that Maude body.
Maude is looking very frumpy in this picture, and it's clearly some kind of meme where they are in the, I'm guessing Polish, and the hashtags are fake Christians, hashtag abortion, hashtag Maude Flanders. So it is something to do with an Eastern European Parliament and some kind of joke in which one of them is saying okli dokli, and one is saying lendu pusfi, and one says, and the Maude is saying ni interruptiam.
I like that Ned's saying ookly dookly.
I imagine that's how it's translated into Polish or Slovakian or whatever language that is. I can't work it out. This is the one of the envelope with Maude on it, and the Ned in the shower is a cross stitch. It's a good one, but long time listeners will have seen that one before. A picture of Uncle Sam pointing at you with no context given as to why that's hashtag Maude Flanders. We want you, if you're an employer seeking to help a student start their journey on the road to success, we want you. They're offering that we are seeking employers who would like to be a part of school-based traineeships. The fact they've spelled a part as a part, all one word, suggests that maybe I'm not going to go with Cornzel. I don't know how Maude has managed to get up in this scam, but they have tagged it with Maude Flanders.
I'll get a compilation ready for you for next time of the Instagram posts that say Maude Flanders that I can't work out why they've tagged her. And sometimes it's not like they've just thrown in a lot of tags. Sometimes it'll just be like 4 or 5 tags and then Maude Flanders.
Now I think we just have some clips from Homer getting angry, but it's written in Spanish. Sorry, we're getting a lot of foreign language exposure here today. So this is great podcasting.
Yeah, she's not on there either.
No, there's the second one. It's a 3-fer. It's the one of get the peanuts at the bottom. I think it's just a straight up translation, right?
Seems like it is.
All of our fans out there in Spain land who don't have access to the internet and YouTube, but do have Instagram, so they can look at simply look at 3 or 4 clips from stills from a show. Here's a classic meme. My plans 2020.
Yeah, this was one of the better. That was a meme done for a lot of things, and it works well in this mod context. Happy with it. If
Happy
you're going
with
to
it.
meme, that's how you're going to do it.
So the meme is set up like this. I'll be the explain please for this. I like explain please on Instagram. You know that one?
I don't.
It's where there's a meme and then the explain please will explain how the meme works. 'Cause I do like humor that is explained to me.
Me too.
But we haven't told people what's on that meme, so you're going to have to look at the picture on the screen right now. There's the cool pin badge of Maude as a vampire, but we've seen that one before. Pretty damn
This is a
cool.
Pokemon. You're not a vampire.
She's a
It's a
Pokemon.
Ghastly.
Okay.
The clue being the Pokemon card in the background.
There is a Maude Flanders Pokemon card, right? So well
Yeah,
done.
somebody did all 150, and they're all worthy of looking at.
Really? Good work, Thumbs. Thumbs 1, made by Cooper, possibly. Last one is it is a remake of the Peanuts in the Bottom, the classic Homer peeping scene. But what's going on there?
He's been replaced with a Nutcracker Homer from a much later episode, I think. And I'm not really sure why this is funny.
Incoherent Nutcracker noises.
Is that a meme, or is that just sometimes people make things and I can't work out why they thought it was funny? But I imagine a lot of people have said that about this.
Those are some sugar plums, is the comment. So that's it. I'm not sure how successful. If you scroll down, actually the next 12 are way better than the top 12, but you can do that yourself by going onto Instagram and typing in hashtag Maude Flanders. Now time's running away from us, Zaz. Do we have time for a Maude diary today?
We do.
Excellent.
And just the page.
Dear diary, that fucking bitch. She said hello to Helen. She said hello to Edna. She couldn't even remember Agnes's name, but she still said hello. And she just looked at me and didn't say anything. Who does she think she is? Her kids are my kids compared to her kid are fucking angels, and she's a piece of shit. She's with a big ugly husband who's just always stupid stuff, like joining a band he was in, the Beatles knockoff. That shit. I'm livid. She comes, she says she doesn't want to invest in anything, and she turns up at this investor fair, just all innocent with her big eyes. Like, oh, I'm just raspy voice Marge, I don't know any better. But she knows what she's doing. She's trying to get to me, and if she carries on, you're going to wake up with a slit throat, and I'm going to take that baby off her. I'm going to raise it to hate her. She can just get the of my life, and I'm going to set fire to that house if she does anything else.
That was it. That's the end.
The type of rage that we haven't seen before from Maude, and we don't see in the show at all. This is unbridled rage, expletives left, right, and centre. Now, is it in her handwriting? Because could we maybe think that maybe one of the more rude characters in Springfield wrote that?
It's in her handwriting, but it looks like it's really deep, like the pen's been it's been written very, very furiously, like impulsively, I would say. Probably just after she walked away from that scene. I'd say she probably just snuck away to the side, vented all of her anger in a diary, and then got back on with it and talked about tahini.
Do you think she knows tahini?
She doesn't, but she will.
We talked about this before. Tahini is sesame paste. It's very good. It's good for you making
Flavor
hummus.
sauce.
Flavor sauce. Well, I have to say I'm shocked that she feels those feelings. I'm shocked that she expresses them even to her diary. But I'm glad we got to hear it. I'm glad we got to hear the absolute unbridled rage over something as small as not being said hello to, and not acknowledging that this was the same woman that helped them to rebuild their house only a few days earlier.
It seemed wildly inappropriate for the circumstances, but I think she's tense. Season 8 Maude has a lot of tension on her shoulders.
Well, there's a long way to go and it's all downhill. Shall we round it up with a song?
Yes.
Who's going first?
Me. Pulling a Maude.
Hurricane Neddy emerging from the hospital.
Spite on both sides.
Face forward, Maud. Free John Swartzwelder.
Most of these women usually like Marge.
Salmon Pink Beard Man is there too.
This is Helen's episode.
You're really gonna tick me off. What does Maud think?
The biggest of not only non-Flanders role.
Sucking on those coffee cups.
Maudio commentary.
Does the pancake stink for Maud too?
Dynaflux Unomatics.
Software company and big fat wrestlers.
El Bombastico.
Fat lady wrestlers and Germans with tashes.
Venting Ned anger.
Marge Buzzkill.
Oakla soft.
You get your pancakes in the mail.
The Go-Go 90s.
You get your pancakes in the mail.
The end.
The end. A delightful trek through a revelation after revelation for Maud. So that is episode 39 in the back. What we
Good
got
work.
left? What's going on there from the last few episodes of this season?
The back half of this we still have to look at. There's still more shenanigans with the other ladies. And then a couple of minor appearances. Also that time her and her mum got taken hostage.
I mean, that's a biggie, but unfortunately it was dismissed in simply a passing phrase and pays.
Well, yes, it'll get its due before the end of season 4, I think. But don't hold me to that.
Alrighty, it's been quiet for the characters today, other than John and John joining that space cult. But
Yeah.
you know, after
Sure,
the
that'll change over the coming week.
after the madness of the last episode, then maybe a bit more content focus was what we needed.
Just 3 clips.
Bye.
Bye.